Akatugba joins us via Zoom. He's a sports journalist to make sense of what's going on with the issue of Super Eagles of Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Sometimes it's difficult to know where to start from. So maybe help us unpack the very multiple moving parts of what is going on with the Super Eagles. Of course, Finidi is out, just a short-term leadership of the Super Eagles, and now we still need to beef up the confidence of these boys. The fans are unhappy, and the NFF everybody's looking at them as to what they will do next to reposition the fortunes of the Super Eagles. So help us make sense of all the gamut of issues.
It's difficult to make sense of what is currently going on in Nigerian football. It's a complete chaos that we found ourselves. Of course, because of, I would say, the quality of leadership that we have. They say everything rises and falls on leadership. The current NFF board, I think, must take responsibility for what is going on right now. They appointed Finidi George without due process. I think that the entire setup, the whole arrangement of Finidi George's appointment was very hasty, and they didn't do the right, the right things. And I told my friends in the NFF, you guys must take responsibility for all of these problems, because you appointed him in the first place, and after 2 games, without prior information, you are telling him you want to bring a technical advisor. You don't expect any human being on earth to accept, such a premature approach to perhaps solving the problems that you think we have. I think that in general, you can say that we are in this mess because we have a group of leaders who may not have the necessary foresight and the intellectual capacity to take Nigerian football to the next level. That's why we have all of these shambles, so to say.
Well, so while all of that was happening or has been happening, and I recall us talking about football management in this country for decades now, how it's not been done the right way, and we're still where we used to be anyway. But while all of that has been happening, something hit us like a lightning bolt, and it's become the elephant in the room there. We're wondering, what's going on? We saw Osimhen's live on Instagram, even though thankfully one of his friends collected it and turned it off. But that was after a lot of things had been spilled. And that just brought a whole new dimension to all of this drama. Osimhen calling out Finidi George, saying he has lost respect for him as a result of some reports around. Omar, you know all of these stories. You know even behind the scenes. So please, let us understand what's going on. Did Coach Finidi George really say those things? Was Osimhen right to have responded that way? How do we mend all of this broken relationship now?
To start with, I've not seen where Finidi George made such a statement. I've done my findings. A colleague of mine, Colin Odo, reached out to Finidi George, and he made it clear that he never said anything like that. He only reacted to a question during his presentation where he said, in general, that he would not beg any footballer to represent Nigeria. That is on record what Finidi said. And for Victor, I understand Victor's angst. I understand Victor because I know him very well. Victor gives his all whenever he plays, whether for Nigeria or for Napoli or for his local team in Olusoso. That is who he is. He's very passionate. He's very emotional. All of these are the attributes you see him display on the field of play. That energy is the same energy he used in venting his anger on that Instagram live. Now, coming to that action itself, I will sit here and say that it was not well thought out. I think that there are better ways to handle situations like that if you truly respect Finidi George. First, as a person, let's separate Finidi George, the coach, and Finidi George, the legend. You must have absolute respect for Finidi George, the legend. Except we want to throw away all our values. As Nigerians, we are raised to respect our elders. We are raised to respect those that have gone ahead of us in any profession that we find ourselves. Let me quickly go away from football and go to what happened in the music industry of recent, where there was this brouhaha about who paved the way and what have you. As a matter of fact, it is in football you can basically talk about people paving the way for others. And people like Finidi George actually are the ones who have paved the way for the likes of Osimhen to enjoy what they are enjoying in Europe today. So at least for anything, you've got to respect all of that. So based on that, I think Osimhen should have done better. There are better ways to handle things, and I think that he should have done better. If he's watching this right now, if I were with him, this is the same thing I would tell him. I'll tell you a story. Sadiq Umar, before the AFCON, the NFF medical department erroneously declared him unfit for the AFCON, despite his specialist in Spain telling them that Sadiq was not that injured and could play the next day. They declared him fit, replaced him. Sadiq was very furious. He went back to Spain, started playing the next day. What did he do? He made a public statement, respectfully clearing things up without disrespecting anybody, even though he had every reason to. I think that's the way a professional should deal with things like this. So let's make it clear what Osimhen did cannot be encouraged. It must be condemned. And Finidi George, as a coach of the Super Eagles, in 4 games, did not cover himself in glory. I think the management of the team was terrible. The choice of players, some of them questionable, even his approach to the game in general. A player of the team who was part of that team told me 2 days ago that before those games against Benin Republic and South Africa, they had no plan, no tactic. He said they just went onto the field, that he was shocked.
So Omar, regardless of what may have transpired between Coach George and Victor Osimhen, are you worried that, you know, the circumstances, this whole Finidi saga, is yet another dent on the Nigerian experience coaching the Super Eagles, and this amid the continued advocacy that we should encourage indigenous coaches, you know, for the Nigerian Super Eagles? Are you worried?
Absolutely. I'm worried for other Nigerian coaches, because what you hear people say is that they put every ex-international in the same box just because of Finidi's, would I say, lapses, so to say. Everybody says, oh, ex-internationals are never prepared to coach the Super Eagles. They want the job, but they don't get prepared, and then they fail. But they forget that Keshi won the AFCON for Nigeria in 2013, took Nigeria to the World Cup. Sunday Olise, beyond coaching Nigeria, rose to a point where he was part of the FIFA technical study group. If you don't have football intellect, you cannot be invited to discuss the technicalities of football at the FIFA level. Emmanuel Amunike, at the AFCON in Cameroon, was working in the FIFA technical study group. These are sound minds. Let's not even forget Samson Tiatia. Unfortunately for what has happened to him, I think that we've got local coaches who are sound enough, who have the exposure, the experience, the personality to manage the Super Eagles. And we've seen them in the past. If not for Olise was too much in haste, that is a sound mind and a local coach that could have taken Nigerian football to the next level. And let me also state, they are not that local. They might be Nigerians, but they are all based abroad. Amunike coached Tanzania. He coached in Zambia. He's coached abroad. And it shows that these guys can handle the Super Eagles. If Amunike could coach Tanzania without quality players, if he coached Nigeria, I'm sure he would have done better with his quality of players that we have in our country. So I don't think putting all the ex-internationals in the same box because of Finidi is right. But again, your question is valid. Finidi, then the chances of our local coaches going forward.
Omar, everybody's asking now for the way forward. Maybe you can profile one as we begin to wind down.
I think the way forward, in my opinion, is still to get a local coach. I mean, that's a difficult position to take, but I've been of the opinion that Emmanuel Amunike would have done a fantastic job. We've seen him do it in the past. He won the Under-17 World Cup with all the Osimhens of this world, the Samuel Chukwuezes of this world. He built a team with quality players and, of course, went outside to coach. I had advocated for Emmanuel Amunike from the off because I felt that he was more qualified to coach the Super Eagles. But the NFF went in the direction of Finidi George, and here we are. I think we should go for Amunike or go for a top-level foreign coach that can take our football to where it should be.
We need to speak to the NFF as well, because we've talked about the coaches. Yes. The NFF board, shouldn't there be some resignations and sacking as well, because they're responsible for this as well?
Of course, like I said earlier, they say everything rises and falls on leadership. I've actually sent a voice message to my friends in the NFF, and I said to him clearly that you guys must take responsibility. Right. We are in this shambles because of the quality of leadership we have in our football.
All right, Omar Akatugba, thank you so much for your very precise insight on this particular issue. We hope for the best for the Super Eagles. Omar Akatugba is a sports journalist, joins us via Zoom. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, absolutely. Well, that's it on the program for today. The very first edition for the week. Public holiday continues tomorrow, but we'll be here to do our job. Thank you for watching. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma.
I'll leave you with some mama's recipe for tomatoes. Add some carrots to boost it for taste and also for quantity. Join us again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
I'm Kevin Okikilo. Sunrise Daily is next. I hear you can use cucumber, garden egg, and the rest. But whatever, have a great one. Bye.